Welcome back to Ranma Half Anime Review, part number 26. This is doing the very first film series, which is Ranma. Well, basically, the alternate name is The Battle of Nekonron, China, Battle to Defy the Rules. The English translation of this one is Big Trouble in Nekonron, China. Yeah, the name itself is a play on the awesomely cool film Big Trouble in China, directed by John Carpenter, starring Kurt frickin' Russell. Yes, I have seen it. It's an awesome movie. And the film was basically had three characters who were the inspiration for the character of Raiden from Mortal Kombat. Now, the story of this film is this. Okay, the film starts off with Hepasai doing his usual thing, stealing women's underwear, wearing the most stupidest disguise. Yeah, napkin on your little nose. That's not a disguise. That's a good at night. But let's be like, this is modern day, and there are streetlights. People can see you, man. And yet you go around stealing women's underwear. Okay. And there's a dark ore running around. And of course, he runs into Ranma, who, well, apparently Connie thinks he did something, even though really he didn't. And then Connie starts chasing him, and then of course Shampoo starts chasing him. Like, of course, Uko sees him, and of course we see the guy who just as a girl disguised as her store sign. She basically throws a curtain, which apparently this is the curtain that basically lets people come into her store. It's probably Japanese tradition. So she ends up chasing him, along with Kadachi. The ghost cat makes a reappearance. The golden pair, like. Heck, even the Dojo Destroyer makes a brief cameo in this wide shot of, like, massive cameos. But I do just... Oh, yeah, Kudo shows up, too. I thought that was quite funny. My only massive disappointment with this scene is that Kadachi... This is by far her only appearance in these movies, because I'm watching the second film. She is nowhere in the second film at all. She appears briefly in this film for about 2 scenes. Like, she has roughly about 2 minutes of screen time. You see her, they run past her, she takes her schoolgirl outfit to show off a green leotard, they chase her, and then she gets blown away by the black aura. Now, as for where the other characters came from, my only guess is the reason why I threw all these characters for a quick cameo, because it's the first movie. That's just it. So eventually, like, they catch up to her, of course, Akane basically assumes that Ranma stole her underwear, even though it was Hippocyte who actually lost all of his underwear he basically stole. Yeah, the Aura basically allowed him to do that. Yeah. So, yep, and they get back home and they're there for a while, and then all of a sudden the Black Aura returns. Turns out the Black Aura was actually just an elephant named Jasmine. And we see this woman, this Chinese woman, they say she's Chinese, she looks like she's white, with orange hair, and she's upset at Hippocyte. Yeah. Oh yeah, she also, her hippo accidentally caused some destruction to the Tendo home. Also, Ryoga is there. I'm glad he makes an appearance. Along with Moose, Shampoo, like, okay, now, there's a lot of destruction to this one area of the Tendo house. Does the woman apologize for doing this? Nope. She's up to Hippocyte because apparently the skull basically should marry some guy. And then something weird happens. Like a hot air balloon, a blimp, basically a big, like an old-fashioned, like 19th century style blimp, carrying a wooden ship, comes out of nowhere to take Akane because she's got the frickin' skull. Okay. Ranma tries to go after him. He blocks him. And he tosses him off. And they race off to China. Yep. So, like, pretty much mostly everybody there, with the exception of Kasumi and Nabiki. Now, here are your rescue team. You have Ranma, Ryoga, these two volunteer automatically, Shampoo, let's see, there was also Moose. Yeah, he's in this film. Cologne, surprisingly, is not in this film. Yeah, it's one of the couple times I've seen it where she does not make a physical appearance at all. Not that I can think of, no. Yeah, and let's see what else. Like, they have Genta, who doesn't want to go, but Xiao basically said, yeah, you have to go. Hepasai has to go because he's the one who caused all this stuff to happen. And Kudo volunteers to use his boat. His boat is a rowboat. I'm like, Kudo, you are rich. You can buy yourself a yacht, and yet you have this wooden boat. Yeah, it's weird. Yep. There's... Now, before I continue, I'm like, okay, now, I get maybe the Ghost Cat make appearance and the Golden Pair, fine. But why is it Uko, who's one of the main characters of the series, reduced to a cameo along with Kadachi? Yes, that's one of my slight disappointments against the movie. I'll get to more of it soon. They race off, and of course the boat they're on start to sink because everybody starts beating up Hippocyte. And then they just happen to come across the girl who inadvertently started all this nonsense, which, yeah, they come on her boat and she kicks them off. Eventually she allows them to stay on board after basically, she accidentally, thanks to Hippocyte, caused damage to her own ship. So they get to the shoreline. They get to China. They'll also have a brief bout on board the guy's ship. His name is Ken, by the way. Yes, him and his martial arts of 7 lucky gods, which is made up of himself, a guy with a big bulky guy with a spear, an overweight guy, a smoking hot woman, a short midget guy, and 2 twins. That's it. Yeah. 7. 6 guys and 1 girl. By the way, in case you're wondering, do we find out any of these characters' names aside from the leader? Nope. You see them. They don't do much of anything aside from fight the main characters. Yeah, which their battles mostly done off screen, mind you. Shampoo barely she basically tries to fight the woman, but she loses, but she has rematch with her later. And Moose fights the overweight guy. Ryoga fights the short guy. And the twins basically are fought by the 2 fathers. And of course Hippocyte tries to hit on the woman. Excuse me. In case you're wondering, like I said, no, we do not know any of these people's name. Also, Ken basically, his battle tactic is basically hold 2 metal chopsticks and a bowl of rice with a pickle on it. Yes. I'm like, dude, why the heck are you holding food in the middle of a fight? If you're fighting, put down your damn food. Oh yeah, and by the way, in case you're wondering, does he ever put this food down? Maybe twice the whole movie. Yeah. Most of the time when you see him, he's always having this bowl of rice with this pickle on top and chopsticks. Oh yes, and apparently, and it's revealed in the movie, that apparently their way they eat is they only eat rice and pickles. Yeah, no thank you. I mean, I like eating rice, I love eating pickles, but constantly every single day is complete nonsense. And Akane, who's on board the ship, this is of course... I think it was just before the gang basically came up there, the Ranma gang came up to rescue her. She basically decided to sneak out of her room, take a bag of pickles with her. Yeah, apparently the pickles are from these gigantic jars. Okay. Yeah, because that's what they eat. And she prepares food for them. And some of it looks good, but knowing Connie, it's pretty bad. And apparently the guy eats a thing, I think it's like squid, and he likes it, despite the fact he later shows him getting ill. So they battle. Of course, they have everybody fight them, and everybody gets beaten so easily. They all get wasted in this scene. I'm like, okay. And my only problem with this scene is you don't get a chance to see the fighting. That's the biggest problem with this particular scene, is that you barely see any fighting. You see maybe a couple moves. Shampoo gets beaten so easily. I mean, come on. This is Shampoo, mind you. She doesn't get beaten that easy. She's a damn good martial arts, and she gets wasted. And I think it's a damn shame Uko was not involved in this scene. And for some reason, Kadachi is not here either, which I'll get to that soon. So, they lose, and they all get pushed off the ship with the exception of Ranma, the girl, the elephant, Hippocyte, who get basically caught on the side. And they ride to frickin' China. They get there. And, as soon as they get there, somehow and of course I'll get to that soon about how the other rest of the group gets there. It's never really explained. And they have to battle the way through 7 gates. Well, basically it's 6 gates. First they come across the big brute. And Hippocyte comes to, you want to see the pretty lady? Oh, by the way, how the rest of the gang gets to land, it is never explained. They just somehow they must have swam all the rest of the way there, despite the fact half of them can turn into frickin' animals. The only people who don't as part of that group is Xiao and Kudo. They're the only two who don't. Everyone else does. So it gets to the first person. Hippocyte just happens to have one of his firecrackers and takes the brute with ease. This brute took on, I think it was Ryoga? I don't think who took on this brute. I think it was Kudo. Yeah, Kudo took on the brute, and not even he could take him on, which is kind of weird. And then we have it where, believe it or not, then we have it where we see the two twins, and Ron beats them pretty easily. Yeah. Oh, the old way guy? Yeah, he's basically easily taken out by the elephant. Yep. Then they come across a smoking hot woman, but still don't know her name. Ron's about to take her on, and then Shampoo shows up completely out of nowhere. He says, "This woman is mine. Hey, take me on, lady." I'm surprised she call her old lady to get on her nerves. Yeah, that's basically very common. I'm quite surprised they didn't have Shampoo say that in English. "Come on, old lady, I'll take you on." Despite the fact she's still quite young for her. She looks like, this woman looks like she's probably in her mid to late 20s. Let's see. Shampoo is in her mid-teens. Yeah, and Shampoo does beat her in a pretty easy match, though Ranma does briefly battle her until Shampoo shows up, thank God. Yeah, basically tries to beat him with a ukulele, which apparently the strings basically cut up Ranma's outfit. By the way, his outfit's like this for the rest of the movie. And then they come across a short guy, which he gets wasted by the rest of the characters. And this guy basically beat Ryoga easily, and yet he's beaten by everybody else. And they get to the main guy's castle. Also, Moose for some reason is carrying the female warrior, because he's an idiot. He thinks that's Shampoo, even though it really isn't. Yes. By the way, in case you're wondering, this woman shows up one more time after this, toward the end of the movie. Doesn't do anything except stand around and do pretty much nothing. Yep, and then we have the fight between Ranma and Ken, which they have also have an abrupt ceremony. And this whole thing is over a freaking scroll that Connie has, and about to merge like if Ranma comes, well, actually Ryoga comes in first. Yeah, Ryoga is what comes in first. Not Ranma, Ryoga. Okay, and then Ranma comes in, and like he tries to take him on, but he's blocked. And he knows that his hands are basically covered with marks with chopsticks. Yeah, he got hit with freaking chopsticks. So he uses, of course, for some reason they refer to it by the Japanese names, they refer to it by its actual name, chestnuts over an open fire. That's what they refer to it as in the anime. And for some reason they refer to it as the original Japanese name for some reason. Yeah, that's never explained. And like, then he comes to the genius idea. Okay, I'm gonna put 4 more fists and punch the ground really hard. Why? Water. Yep. He throws hot water at the guy, beats him up. He kind of loses, though his tower basically ends up collapsing. And Ranma goes to save Akane, where he goes saves the beautiful woman who actually wants him. She basically saves the scroll. He gives to him. Oh, and it was hinted at that this thing was supposed to Akane was to be like a sacrifice to thread the world peace. Nope, it's a cooking book. That's not a joke. That's what this scroll is. It's a cookbook with a scroll. Of course, Hippocyte gets beaten up for his trouble, and the lady stays with the prince, with Prince Ken. I mean, these two are perfect for each other. And of course, because he's beaten, he voluntarily loans him his ship, his flying ship, so they can go back to China. Oh, and by the way, does he volunteer to repair the Kudo house? The Tendo house? Nope, doesn't. Nothing is said about it. Kasumi is basically briefly seen after the place is destroyed, her just dusting the stuff off. Yeah, I know if they probably fixed it or not. I have no idea. Then they go back to Japan, and they get, see closing credits, and they're just waving at the gang, and then they get a month later. Oh, yeah, apparently they got married. Yep. And, well, of course, when Ranma first fought him, he was in his girl form. This time, he's basically fighting me in his guy form, which probably for him, probably the second time we've seen it. Yep. positives about this movie. The movie itself is good. The characters they utilize in the movie are utilized okay. My only problem is that with the exception of the main villain, his henchmen get nothing to do except get pretty much, yeah, most of their screen time probably was cut for this movie. In case you wonder how long this movie was 1 hour and 17 minutes. And I kind of felt as though that that you can probably see some stuff was probably cut from this movie. Like, I don't know if it's like this in the sub as well, but it felt as though that like we had certain seconds that were cut from this movie for no apparent reason. Yes. The story itself is fine. I have no problem with the story. The story is actually pretty interesting. It's got good fight sequences, which is actually quite nice. A lot of the cameos is nice, with the exception of a couple of them. And I think then, let's see, the voice acting is done really well. My negatives. Kadachi and Uko, two of the reoccurring main character series, reduced to cameos. This by far was really stupid for the movie to do. I mean, come on. Uko is one of Rama's fiancées, and yet she's reduced to a 2-second cameo. Kadachi, another woman who's got a thing from Rama, and yet she's reduced to this, and this is her only film appearance. Yeah, that's kind of the dumb thing about this. And Kudo's in all 3 films. Yeah, I know he's the second one because I'm watching it. He's in the 3rd film. He's in all 3 films. His sister, his smoking hot sister, is in one movie for about 2 minutes. Yeah, that's basically all I get for the character. Like, okay, overall negatives. Kadachi and Uko getting tiny screen time. A lot of the stuff felt as though some stuff was cut. The Rama basically getting punished for hypocized deeds, which is usual fare for the series. And I kind of felt as though this particular movie, basically, that the plot thread, okay, there's something involving the main villain kidnaps the main character's love interest, and the main character has to go rescue her. I'm like, we had this in the Rama series with Panio's Toro, and we had this in Naruto the Last. Yes, but here's kind of the thing. This one was released in 1991. Naruto the Last was released in 2014, roughly 13 years, actually 23 years after this film's release. They must have reused the plot thread, I don't know. Yeah, it's only like one of two, yeah, it's only a second movie I've seen where uses this plot thread of, like, the main character's love interest gets kidnapped by the main villain, and the main character has basically put a team together and go rescue her. Yep, and, well, I would say the only difference is between this film and the last is that the main villain's actually got henchmen. Well, actual physical henchmen, unlike in the last, where it's basically a bunch of puppets. Yep, the special effects for the movie, despite being animated, it's actually really good. The animation looks fantastic, by the way. Was there any other negatives I could think of? I thought it was too inconvenient that somehow Rama knew there was a hot spring or anything. I don't think he even knew. And I think it was kind of dumb. Like, okay, so apparently they don't really explain of how in the world that the rest of the gang managed to show up here. Yeah, they don't show that at all. Did they take the woman's ship? Nope, it's never mentioned. And Rama's like, how'd you guys get here? Like, how'd you guys get here so quickly? Like, because the last time they all fell in the ocean. And the movie doesn't bother to explain how the heck they got here so quickly. Yep. Or how the fact that in one scene, the gang had trouble taking on these people, and then next time they fight them, it's like the complete opposite. Like, the henchmen waste the main characters, and then another scene, the main characters plow right through the henchmen. Like, every one of them. Yes, I thought that was kind of dumb from the movie. And the villain himself, well, like, his motivation for kidnapping Connie because she had a piece of paper. A part of a scroll. Yeah. I thought this was kind of dumb. And it kind of felt as though he wasn't, like, really the actual villain. It's basically, he sort of misunderstood. By the way, the whole thing with the martial arts, Seven Lucky Gods martial arts, this particular thing was never explained in the movie at all. Yes, I thought that was one fault of the movie. The fact that this particular now, all the rest of the martial arts styles in the main anime, those are explained. This film, this martial arts style is never explained. It's like, oh, we have 7 Lucky Gods. Yeah. I think the overall in the case of, there's some writing problems with this movie. I would say, I think that the voice actor for Ranma, I don't think it's the original voice actor. I think it's one from the, I think it's the one from let me look it up on here. I think it's like the one who's from the main series who took over season 4. It's possible. Let me look it up on here. Just to be sure. I'm just making sure here. Just to be sure of the fact that I get this correct here. Yeah. There it is. Let's see if I can find the voice cast here. Let's see. Okay, so apparently Rama is voiced in the film by his original voice actor in his male form. No idea why, it's just that he is. Yeah. So actually yeah, so apparently the guy's name is Kyrene. Yeah, and also, he's like The Rock, where he refers to himself in the third person a lot the whole movie. He's never said I at all. Which I thought this is kind of weird. Like, yeah, he's a bit over the top. And, and apparently, according to the way these people act, is like, okay, apparently it's foreign for them to eat anything else but rice, pickles, and vegetables. To me, that is not much of a meal. That is kind of like a small snack. I'm like, where's the meat? Yes, where's your meat? Are you guys vegans? Do they say they're vegans? No. It seemed like they are either they're vegans or vegetarians. They don't say what type of people they are. It's basically, it's like a lot of stuff in this movie is never explained at all. The scroll gets sort of some explanation at the very end. But aside from that, nope, we just have to rush this movie. But basically, overall, the movie for its first time actually did something really good, despite the fact the film's plot thread was a ripoff from the main series with Penny Toro. And oddly enough, this came out toward the end of the main anime. Well, this came out basically 2 years before the series, actually about a year before the series ended. The next film came out the following year. Yep. It came out in, I think it was like 1993, I think it was, yes. So yeah, not much else to say about this particular review, this particular movie film, so that's it for this particular review. I have roughly 2 more videos I'm hoping to do for today for Ranma Half. I'm going to work on this, I'm working on the second one right now, so hopefully I'll finish this up and just, yeah, I'll finish that up and then hopefully do a review it plus final thoughts. And I think like the only other film I'll probably do say is probably going to be a review of the. Hopefully, I'm going to do the a couple case closed films, and that'd be pretty much it for today. Basically, pretty much the movies today. Yep. So, until you see the next video. Bye.